Uh, this video is going to be about survival of the fittest. I grew up in Atlanta, and you know, basically, I'm surviving dysfunction. And when you survive dysfunction, it's all kind of things that can come with that. I mean, most people are fighting for their right to be human, right? And basically, everybody wants to pretty much be viewed in a good light. So, in life, when you make choices, you realize that, when you're born here, you never know what odds are against you. You never know somebody can use something against you. So, growing up, basically, I was born, I had a mom, I had a dad, and, we lived in a neighborhood, and, a lot of times, when you go to school and things of that nature, you have to learn things, and you study people, and the more you learn, the more, you'll start to realize that certain things, you can't really dismiss, or certain things you can't, you know, change. You may be born into a situation where you have to submit to something based off, the natural flow of your life, like people having problems and thinking that you don't have more of a struggle than them. They'll try to rob you. You'll survive criminality, things of that nature. That's pretty much what I've been doing. They want you to fight. So what happened was I grew up and I was in a neighborhood, and I see a lot of these people that I grew up around. The word of mouth, like they say, is the best way to promote any idea or business or brand or whatever you want to call it. And pretty much a little boy had sex with me, and I would hear my mom, you know, pretty much. I didn't know who half those people were when I was a kid, but I come to realize that some of them were singers and dancers, and pretty much, intellectualism. There are some cons. It's a pain in the ass. Most people are being viewed as narcissistic because of their lack of control over certain aspects of their life. So once somebody can use that word, that idea, against you. So that's what's been going on with me. A little boy had sex with me, and everybody view me as having an orgasm, and people see me as cynical. You know what I'm saying? Freaky or sexual when I was a kid. So now everybody is saying, people was like, well, let's make fun of her as a kid for doing something that really should have been prevented. But it's a dog eat dog world. I mean, I'm not saying that it was a bad or a good thing, but what I'm saying is that people will view you as a narcissist once you start to have experiences, and then depending on how they emotionally affect you, your emotional maturity, the people that's raising you, it can either be negative energy for you, a negative thought, or not. So, I constantly have to use a lot of reverse psychology on my brain, because a lot of times people will think, well, why is she fat, or why is that? You must not be intellectual enough to understand, certain things you must do to do blah, blah, blah. Most people, will, of course, it's a competition out here. Who's the most goodest person in the world, or who's the most baddest person, or who's the most thorough, or who can stand up for themselves the most. That is something that people get judged by the content of their character, and it just happened naturally, just like, the idea of racism and stuff. We were realizing that we had skin complexions, and people took that shit and ran with it. I ain't saying that's a dumb thing or bad thing, or I'm not saying that it's not a smart thing, but it's something that happened. Just from an intellectual perspective, it could seem some people had opinions, some things are good, some things are bad. So what I'm understanding is that, I see all kind of people come in fast food, and I'm like, man, is people really getting judged by the way they look? Can you really? I don't know. too many doctors, I guess I would have to, make an intellectual decision to, internships or either go to random doctors' offices and talk to doctors. But I'm pretty sure doctors are, a doctor would be somebody that applied themselves to actually be knowledgeable about a lot of things. Because the more you learn in depth about things like chemicals and really understand, measuring things like, as far as the mathematics of things, and also just in a general sense, the more you learn in depth of things, you should be able to intellectually be receptive of certain things. So with all that being said, I knew at a young age that I was going to have a disadvantage over men based off the facts of life, based off the fact that men seem to be put on this pedestal for masculinity, or men are being viewed, stigmatized, being viewed as the wearing the pants in the relationship. And then for women, we got the idea of feminism. Some women are wearing the pants in the relationship. In a general sense, we've got all kind of avenues, intellectual avenues and things of that nature. And I think the reason why I spazzed out in my life is, since they want to call me a narcissist, I think that the reason why I'm mad is because I really have seen potential in certain people. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could sit here and, eat the right things and do this and that and the third, but sometimes things are just, it just depends. You know what I'm saying? I live in the United States, and I see a lot of people come in and out of stores, and I be wondering, like, okay, so I can tell that perhaps they're not drinking good water or they're not eating good and this, that, and the third, but you have to appreciate the things of this life. I mean, I walk to work every day, so that's probably the reason why I don't get too big. But, there are certain things you can do to, I guess, make sure that you don't, that your food is being properly processed in your in your body, and everything is digesting the right way, so you won't get too big or too small. Because there is, I guess I do want to go to school and study normalcy. um you know there is a negative connotation on being a narcissist, and a lot of men get off on the fact that perhaps if they have sex with a woman that it provides an orgasm. But if you're, I mean, I'm not sure how to feel about that, because at the end of the day, that can be a stressor for you. And I'm like, for people to take it for a joke, it's really fucked up. I have to get around positive energy to really keep my mind off the bullshit. So it ain't even about that. It's about the fact that once they was when I was a kid, I had a grown woman arguing with me. All the adults were pretty much, you know, had their own lives going on. I grew up, some people that lost their parents, some people that lost their mind, people in the neighborhood just, fight for what they believe in. A lot of people, once they started realizing that they was having sex at early ages and they were having babies, I became a target because I didn't go ahead and go along with the heterosexual, you know, thing to do, which have been to go ahead and have a baby and just let a man, take care of me. So there was a debate, there was an argument of me being submissive to a man, forming a paradigm that a boy had sex with me. And I'm like, in reality, there's a lot of people that know how to um, train the minds of their kids. Like one lady was saying, I kept my daughter away from you. I taught her not to have a narcissistic attitude. And I basically just beat that and instilled that in her head. So, people, what I'm realizing as a woman or a man, people can use that against you, and realize that, at the end of the day, you will survive this world. Like certain things seem dysfunctional, but once you start reading, you know, a lot and just discovering different avenues of knowledge, everything can be justified with that. That's the beautiful thing about literature. That's the beautiful thing about intellectualism. I mean, as a woman, I'm not sure if I'll ever be satisfied with the life I have as a woman. I can only use reverse psychology. I said I want to make a music video. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could be a rapper and shit like that. But in essence, you know, everybody can't do this shit. We really are, in a situation where, my mom was like, she vouched for my dad. He has other kids, and I, I'm assuming that these women have an advantage over me that have kids with men and stuff like that, and they're a union. So I'm not a threat to that. And then they want to argue and debate, and they want me to prove my knowledge of things. I'm like, I mean, it happened naturally. You have some things to, you really have to, like, make a choice. I'm like, I'd rather be seen as a narcissist than seen as somebody's side bitch. You know what I'm saying? But if you have enough intellectual capacity and you experience enough success to yourself, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of women out here, men that practice polygamy and everything, and it could just be because of, just being an intellect, Well, you might have somebody you're loyal to that you grew up with, that you had sex with as a kid, and that might be your husband or your ex-wife or whatever, and then you may have different avenues that you go to contribute to your relationship. You can do that. You grown. If you want to have sex with a man for money, or if you want to, you know, if you're, in a state of desperation, and you're loyal to somebody, you got kids, you have solid love, and you come to a place where you have some things that you can do to sacrifice for the relationships in terms of your significant other, shit, go right ahead. So, me, what I'm realizing is I'm in the South, and a lot of us don't want to just stay in one place. That's the beautiful thing about learning and growing, is that a lot of people can use something against you. And I know I'm being oppressed by heterosexuality. That's like no doubt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that because, there are people that you work with, and they can dig up things about you and realize that, well, that girl really is this, that, and the third. And I'm like, it's shameful. It's crazy that, at the end of the day, you know, that I'm sitting here having to focus my mind and stuff. And I think that's what people will value you for. A lot of people, you know, will do things. People were spreading rumors about me and my mom being a narcissist and things of that nature. My mom had a brother. My cousin used to come over, and all them people used to sit there and just create tension between us. I remember a lady stole all my mom's furniture, and, well, actually at the house, or it was at her house. And, it's just basically, represented that people were forming superiority over us to a certain degree, or they were trying to teach us a lesson, or they were sitting there. When I was a kid, I'm pretty sure the adults were in college. How would they respond to this, that, and the third? You know what I'm saying? If I leave my daughter in the room with her cousin, will they have sex, this, that, and the third? So the point I'm trying to make is, a woman's reputation can be ruined by the definition of manhood, and that's, I think, what they were trying to get, the point that they were trying to make too. So, anybody can do anything. Like, I'm at McDonald's, and I think my biggest problem with the success rate, as far as me, being working in fast food, is my jealousy streak for men. I've got a lot of reading to do, a lot of soul searching, a lot more humbling experiences to experience. You know what I'm saying? I have a mom and dad. I don't have too much going on in my life that's bad. So, you know what I'm saying? I have to realize that, at least I give a damn about certain things. Like I sit at the table, I wipe the tables, and I be cleaning the lobby, and I be seeing a piece of hair on the goddamn table, and I be like, I wonder if that my hair peeling out, cause see, I'm natural, and my shit look like it's shedding. And I'm like, nah, they don't. I don't even remember my hair falling off like that, but it could be. Somebody can be like, nah, I don't want her piece of my food, cause her hair gonna fall in. She like, it's another lady I work with. She pregnant. It's a white lady, and her hair, I'm like, I need to get me a hairnet, because I'm like, at the end of the day, who really wants to you gotta you gotta respect what you do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I said, once you what people gonna know about me is that shit, I was goddamn thoroughbred, and I can't say that I did shit out of narcissism. I will say that I did shit out of a choice. You know what I'm saying? I used to hear, people bragging about they kill whole families. I don't know if they was in the military to themselves, or they was in the military literally, or what. But it is, people out here, fight for justice. You know what I'm saying? A motherfucker might try to kill you because, they can't control you. You know what I'm saying? Domestic violence is real, all that shit. If you come up, everybody don't think the same. You know what I'm saying? I got more tame being experiences being tamed by manhood than the average woman. Do I take offense to them? Not really. So they view me as a butch, right? Because of the idea of chauvinism and the stigmas on woman and manhood, to where there can be double standards, and a woman can be really viewed as the vulnerable one and the submissive from an intellectual standpoint. You know, there's lots of things that I want to do, lots of things that I have to learn, and I appreciate my little job working experience. And at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people, it's more than what meets the eye. So growing up, my mom was a property manager, and ain't no telling what kind of shit she got going on. Your life is solely up to you. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got to do. Like, I got to, you know, I don't care about having a reputation for being a bad person, or I killed this person or that person, because at the end of the day, I know where I stand. I'm an outcast. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I'm not going to let people I want people to know that you need to, men especially, appreciate your manhood. I don't care how you look at it. I may be naive to things or whatever, however your opinion is of me, but men are really getting put on pedestals for simply being a man. You know what I'm saying? I really hold back from a lot because of that. Like, every time I work out, I always say that I get mad, because I'm like, I can never be this or that person in the third. But I've seen a lot of people. I can tell a lot of people be going through shit. You know what I'm saying? Just based off the fate of life. It's a competition. When you in these stores and you selling food and shit, these people can really do it by themselves. They choose to, allow you to, work with them and all that shit. So that's what I got to realize, that I'm gonna be fighting people and all that shit, because they want to prove that I'm not that good of a person, or maybe I don't deserve this and that and the third. They want you to fight. I've been reading the policies and stuff like that. You know, occupational safety hazard. What is it? Something. All that shit. O'Shea. Reading all that shit, realizing that, it's about the fight. It is about the fight. You know what I'm saying? You can't change the fate of your life, like people really make arguments about, or it happened naturally. Growing up, I had to worry about, a little boy had sex with me, and all they did was talk about that. You know what I'm saying? It's in reference to me, I'm sitting in school trying to do my work. So people just being observatory. Well, why is that person over there quiet? Oh, that's somebody I had sex with. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand your experiences can affect the future of your life. A lot of people want to use that shit against me. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, why wouldn't I not be jealous of men? But when you smart, you gotta know how to move. I be on YouTube, and I don't, part of being an intellect is being skeptical. I don't know how true shit is. It's a lot of these rappers and shit that's supposed to be dead, but I don't even believe it because I ain't been in their funerals or nothing. So niggas just really be living their life. So, two old white couple came in last night and they was like, well, I worked in Riverdale. I lived in Riverdale for so and so years, and the first thing I thought about was my cousin works in Riverdale somewhere. That's over there by the airport. I don't remember how big Riverdale is, but when I think of Riverdale, I think of over there by the airport. So, mm, at the end of the day, you just gotta be intellect. I'm pretty sure there is the reason why they would name that area Riverdale because that's what smart people do. That's how smart people think. That's what I'm trying to do. When you're learning, you're trying to broaden your perspective. Why would your last name be this? Why would this be called this? Look at your surroundings, study the landforms and things of that nature. So, I guess I'll start back doing push-ups and stuff. And, it won't make sense to me. But, I pay attention to a lot of people. I tend to just internalize things and people and their nature. And I'll be like, everybody can't be like this. Everybody can't look like this. Everybody can't talk like this. Everybody can't do this. So what is your advantage? So, yeah. I think people use the fact that I'm a woman against me. People will be telling me I'm feminine. Of course, if a male that had sex with me, he's gonna view me as feminine because, you know, um, it's a submissive position that you're in once a man have sex with you, and I can't appreciate a man, so I won't. And that's the advantage that people had over me, and I really wish that I would have never let a boy have sex with me, and then from that point forward I don't blame them just from an intellectual perspective for trying to plot on my downfall as a woman because of that fact. Because after that, all those men kept on, my pride was hurting, and all the men seriously wanted to fuck me because of proving the fact that I had a narcissistic personality disorder. Just to be intellect. When you're in school, you need extra credit, you need credentials to make it in life. So, it, learning is beautiful and it's a bittersweet thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, I'm sitting here overthinking, woman and manhood, and I think I've got lots and lots of things to learn because at the end of the day, what happened was people really are being judged from a spectrum of masculinity and femininity. So some people are being viewed as strengthful, some people are being viewed as weak. So me being viewed as I'm not saying that they're viewing me as a weak person, but that is what you can be viewed as if you're, depending on, being in a heterosexual union in a relationship. If somebody may be more successful, that can be the thing, the cause of confusion or conflict in your relationship when there's stigmas on your gender and who's are we equally being doing things, are we both taking initiative, da, da, da. Me, I could never be with a man on a serious note. And it just depends. I haven't been everywhere. If I ever be with a girl on a serious note, she can't be black because my identity as a whole, just from an intellectual perspective, is toxic for me. I can't be with somebody like me. I can't be with another black woman. So I'm just saying, I think, if I can get my intellect up to par, I can be able to, associate with people that can detox me. I always told people, mixed people, I call them mixed people, but people that have other races and heritage are actually a detox for me. I mean, not certain people, not some people, some of the people that I've experienced in my life, like I grew up and I used to call some lady named Beanie, just who spoke Geechee out in the gate. I tell people I kind of develop a ghetto perspective because of these people. Speaking colloquialism is something that I practice doing naturally because of the simple fact of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a good thing. So it just depends. I'm confused a lot about my identity because of that. Because of growing up around people that say they part Mexican or maybe they just light skin. You never know, man. Cause some people, you know, that's how I know my mind is open. Cause I'm like, you can't really tell these days who's who. Somebody I can grow locks right now. Somebody could think I'm a Jamaican, but if you don't understand the dialect of speaking patois, there are people that know how to hide their accents and all this stuff. I know a lot of people that grow up, you know what I'm saying? You will, it's a lot of people that I know that really, you know what I'm saying? I really studied my dialect. I really studied being a hillbilly and all that shit because naturally, people made a big deal about all that stuff, and I ain't saying nothing wrong with that because at the end of the day, um, it does seem it is an intellectual identity. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, it seems like my mom, had to really submit to situations. She had a baby by a man who she said she vouched for. It didn't work out. He ended up, probably going overseas. He probably did have an advantage over her for simply being a man. She probably, you have to, when you're a woman, you have to be careful because a lot of people will. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can gang up on you for that fact. People can use your womanhood against you because they expect you to be a certain way. A lot of people will be like, well, motherfuckers will submit to you more if you develop more of a butch mentality and you strengthful. But I'm like, we won't look right no matter how. I don't give a fuck what you do. You won't look right. I mean, you may look right to you and you may not need the approval of others, but it just depends. Like I said, I've got a personal you know, idea about the way men and women look as far as just in a general sense. When I watch these lesbian shows between women and shit, and I just be feeling sorry for us women. Like, some people, may have the intellectual capacity, may not have insecurities to be understanding of what's real and shit like that. But, what I'm saying, some people do. If you have insecurities, you have insecurities. I am insecure because of men. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way that some of these men look. And when you're in a heterosexual relationship, depending on who you are, you know what I'm saying, you you might not be insecure. It might just, things just work out for you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all about growth, like this hair. I'm gonna let this shit grow. I'll be pulling on it and shit and taking little twigs out. But I'm like, ultimately, one day this shit is going to have to take off, and I'm just gonna have to bush it together. You know what I'm saying? Don't pull on it. Let it grow. Let it fall out by itself. Because I'm like, when it comes to this natural hair, you could tell when you get in love when shit is just going right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, look, it's real. You just got to let that shit grow. Because shit real. Shit is real. Sometimes you need love. And that's what I stress over. I'm like, man, if I was a man, I don't think I would be, so insecure when it comes to, just dressing up a certain way and all that. I'm like, I could sit here and lose all the weight in the world and, be strengthful, and build muscle, but they all only view it as a butch mentality. I'm like, we sitting here, the butch film dynamic does not exist for no reason. This shit exists because this shit is real. This shit is real. You know what I'm saying? You gotta watch how you move out here. I'm like, I actually like McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? The food and the way it tastes, but my passion for food, it's it fluctuates. Sometimes I be like, man, well, if I don't eat this, if I eat this, I mean, I feel happy when I eat the food, so I won't gain too much weight or lose too much weight. I'm just mad about the fact that I really want to be a guy, and I'm like, when I see women and men, I'm like, you know, if I lose all my body fat, I'm so into the anatomy of a female and a man, and I've been convinced that women have a more curvaceous feel. And I know that's not true because I've looked at the anatomy of a man. You can really run game on people, and men have a curve to a certain degree. We just stigmatized our womanhood as that. I don't know. It's just a paradigm for me, but I've actually looked at, men's bodies, and I'm like, well, they have an ass too. You know what I'm saying? And the more body fat you put on, the more curvaceous you'll seem. But that's what the thing is. If you ever put on a dress or I wore open toe shoes, you will feel as though you're developing a feminine appeal because of that. Because sometimes, like, I guess that's what they mean by, you're making your child to a narcissist when you're forcing things on them. And at the end of the day, when you're a kid, when I was a kid, I pretty much had to just go along with everything and realize that life was simple. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know, people are judged. Somebody can just come in McDonald's one day and be like, "We don't like you. Get off the clock." It works like this sometimes. My whole family finna take over the building. That's what I was concerned about. Them kids was ganging up on me. They was like, well, now that they having babies and shit, I'm gonna keep my goddamn work ethic going. We gotta let this bitch know that she ain't running shit. I'm gonna be who you gotta deal with once you get older. I'm already pregnant. I done did this, so my loyalty lies with them. So now I gotta worry about that. From my understanding, is niggas going around hitting licks and shit, and they just going around. People just really think they got a struggle. I mean, just like death. A lot of people that I know that's dealing with death. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people that have lost their parents and shit, but that shit come with. I know life ain't the same when you miss somebody, but that shit come with the territory. You know what I'm saying? My food don't taste as good as it used to because of stress and knowing that people are going through things. Everything could be worse. Then people just become petty when they take losses. I've seen so many adults act childish, like, nah, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? um i I lost this person, then the third, and people stumping your feet and shit, and this has been a humbling experience for them. That's what me and my mom and I had to deal with. So all right, these folk taking losses. Let's be patient with these people. But in essence, my mom deserved the world. She don't deserve to be stressing. But the shit happened naturally. That's what I'm. Before I leave this earth, that's what I'm gonna realize. We have an identity as black women, and our lives would have been better if we were men. I don't give a fuck how you look at it. That's just the paradigm that I form. I mean, maybe I need to be around some people that are, you know, my detox is studying and shit. When I said I can't be around some of these same people, but I knew I would have to associate with them just based off, naturalism. Like, I'm like, yeah, some of these people I'm gonna see for the rest of my life. Pretty much, managers and all these buildings and stuff. You can just go in any building and just take over if you want to as a human being, who muscle, who not. So at the end of the day, you can't help what paradigms you form. So, I hope that the newborns and stuff that are born here, I hope that nothing negative starts to form in your mind and you stay positive, because it'll definitely help you keep jobs and shit. Because I know a lot of these women have babies and stuff by men, and sometimes they want to do right, sometimes they want to do wrong. But I know the point that they were trying to make was, we having babies and stuff. We are a family, and my nigga and I are thoroughbred, and we gonna go to work when we want to, do what we want to. We started stressing because of this, that, and the third. And I'm like, nah, fuck all that. Y'all gonna understand that if you bust at me, potentially I will bust back. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So I'm like, I don't have access to any guns or anything, but I need to, study the law and stuff, and just pretty much, realize that, you know, my little inferiority complex to men, you know, I need to just, let that shit ride, because in reality, you know, all day long I be seeing women and I'm like, man, I feel sorry for us. I really do. I feel sorry for us women. So, mm, I just have to center my mind. I grew up, you know, people, just a lot of things that ring in my head. You gotta think positive. So I guess when you're raising a kid, you can raise them not to raise them, instilling them not to be a mean spirited person and a good person, and you know, at the end of the day, take your intellectualism, and nobody can take that from you. So I've been reading a little bit, and I'm like, I've been working in fast food, might as well just start reading as much as I can and enjoying life. You know, That's what I want to do. You know, it'll be so cool to be a dude though. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people, I'm in fast food, and that damn Big Mac mean the world to them. Somebody they lost could have loved Big Mac. So, mm, I just keep y'all heads up, and don't let them game you. And I feel like people that ran so much game on me and my mama to the point where it's like, people really think a certain way. I mean, do nice people really goddamn get treated differently? I don't see that. I don't I don't see just because you're a praying person. I mean, it just depends. People can use it against you. Like I said, there are some people that I see and I'm like, they seem like they generally nice, but at the end of the day, I think, like I said, people really want to view me as this. I'm like, man, I'm a woman. I ain't even with nobody. They want to view us as having attitudes and mean spirited because we come off a certain way. We have female voices. These songs that I wrote, Murray, Quicksand, Jody Breeze, all these men, the reason why I feel inferior to them is because the way they sound. I don't even know if they cared about themselves. These people ain't nobody special to themselves, but they are. I'm like, do you realize how the tone of your voice and the way you come off can really affect the nature of your life? That damn quicksand song got millions of views. People are listening to you because you're a man. They expect you to act like that. If a man catches an attitude, it's cute. If a woman does it, she's being feisty. It's two tones to those. You know what I'm saying? There's two different tones. You just gotta accept life for what it is. you know, it's just fucked up. People like you think you hard because you done killed somebody and all this and whatever the case may be. That don't make you hard, but it makes people will understand. I know if I give that girl a gun that she'll shoot somebody, no matter who it is. And that's just how it is. I'm like, I didn't grow up. I'm an inbred to myself. I'm not sure who I'm related to or not. I got, aunties I call cousins and stuff. I don't know who half these people are. They got babies and kids and families. They have an advantage over me. And if they're willing to give me employment experience, then that's what I'll do. I'll experience goddamn employment. So that's what people want to use against me. Once these women and stuff start having babies and stuff, it's not to say that it's a you know, I just want people to know that if you're going through something, I stress, and it comes with the territory. Things, food don't taste the same if your mom and your dad die. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to acknowledge these people and their problems. People really be going through shit. One of my goddamn coworkers, it looked like something wrong with his mouth. I'm like, somebody threw some grease on your mouth or something. Or somebody punched your mouth out. It be people around here doing shit for no damn reason. Yeah, I mean, people that are being put on pedestals, and I'm like, why the fuck this person look like this? Is that gonna happen to me? But you know what I'm saying? I can't take offense to nothing that happens to me on the rough side, cause I'm earning man points to myself. I want to be a man so bad, I can taste that shit. But we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? I seen a woman, an old lady, roll in the store, and she had a damn beard, and she had a gray beard, and that shit didn't even look right. And I was like, man, I just feel sorry for us as females. I feel so sorry for us, cause I'm like, that shit didn't even look right. So with all that being said, best thing I can do. It's cold and shit. I got seasonal retinitis, but I don't have a mucus infection or anything. But I drink my little airborne, try to jog myself to work, start doing a couple of squats, and just move forward with my life. People really be going through shit.